or its ownership.
Good morning. Welcome in. .1 FM and 1220. I am your host, Matt Watson. It is good to have you. Welcome in. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, it's good to have you. Thank you so much. If you're looking for us on Facebook Live, just search for KHTS Radio and click on the salmon colored banner there. There we are. And if you are looking in on the studio at us, I know you're thinking, hey, idiot, what are you doing in the mask? You're sitting in the studio by yourself. Well, I'm not. I've got Engineer Andrew sitting right across from me. We're both wearing our masks, keeping our distance, but doing what we're doing just like you are. Welcome in. This special edition of Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers, is being brought to you by KHTS in collaboration with SCVI and iLead Charter Schools. We come to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., providing support and updates for you on your distance learning journey. We are now in the middle of week 9 of our distance learning journey. How you doing? You doing okay? It feels like most people have hit their stride. They're doing pretty well. Either you're full sprint and you're ready for, or you're full stride and you're ready for this marathon. You're good to go. You're working with your schools, or you've thrown in the towel and you're doing play-based learning every day, and you know what? If it's working for you, if it's working for your kids, then it's all good. But you know, we are here to support you. We've got all kinds of resources for you, regardless of which camp you fall in or where on the spectrum you land. At homeschoolinganswers.com, we've got just about every educational resource that you could need. There's so many different resources that folks are putting out these days, and we're so grateful. But, you know, it's tough to weed through the chaff and get to what really works for your kids. We've done a lot of that sorting and selecting for you and put it there on homeschoolinganswers.com. Head on over there. Check out your kids' grade level. We've got grade level ranges, and you can click on those buttons, find stuff that's age appropriate for your kids. Or if you're looking for a specific subject, you can sort it by subject matter. We've got We've got parent resources. You know, what to do when you're going stir crazy in the house with your kids, how to handle different crises and how to work more effectively with your kids. All kinds of great resources on there. We've also got our webinar series that we're posting on there. We do a live webinar every Thursday. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're doing project-based learning for the high school grades tomorrow, but we'll go over that in a little bit. We've got a great show today. It is a busy day. Boy, is it a busy day in Santa Clarita. It's a busy news day because we had a busy day yesterday in Santa Clarita, across the LA County, and the rest of the state. Just a quick recap of it, and then we'll go into detail a little bit later. Yesterday, after we went off the air, the LA County Department of Public Health announced that the safer at home restrictions will be extended until at least July, or at least that's the way that message was interpreted and put out on the wavelengths. And you know, we may get a little bit of a clarification a little bit later on today, but we'll be talking about that in a little bit. This is a decision that affects all of us so deeply in so many different ways. So again, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Another statewide decision was announced yesterday that affects many of us. I know it affects my son and I very deeply. We had a long conversation about it. The California State University system announced that their campuses will remain closed and that distance learning will continue through the fall semester. So you know, my son, who just accepted his offer at San Francisco State, is going to be home for the fall semester doing distance learning, and I know that that affects a lot of you as well. So we'll be discussing that a little bit later on. We've also got a guest from College of the Canyons joining us a little bit later on in this 9 o'clock hour to talk about how that decision affects what they're doing at COC and how they may be able to step up and serve some of your needs during this time. For me and my house, it means we're going to be saving a little bit money on meal plans and housing, but my son is really bummed about it, and so we're wondering, is this going to be a domino that knocks down others and other schools will soon follow suit, or is it going to be different at the UCs? And again, what about those junior colleges or the public school systems, you know, the K-12 public school systems? So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on today. We also have election results coming in from yesterday's special election for the 25th congressional seat vacated by Katie Hill back in November. So we've got so much to talk about, and we've got several great guests coming in. We've got Yuval Tull on the line. She'll be joining me in just a minute. She is a recent graduate from SCVI. She graduated last year, and she is quickly starting to conquer her end of the world. We'll be talking with her about her accomplishments this year. We've got another impressive guest coming in from COC, as I mentioned before. They're going to be talking about how the Cal State's decisions will be affecting what they're doing at COC. And of course, we've got our friend, our official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina Debray, coming in at the end of the second hour. So let's go ahead and get started. My first guest today is an SCVI graduate from the class of 2019 who's accomplishing some great things this year. Yuval Tull made her mark at SCVI not only in the classroom, but also on stage. In fact, as an actor in the SCVI theater program, she was known as much for her incredible work ethic and willingness to take risks as she was for her powerful performances on stage. And it was actually that same work ethic that allowed her to excel academically, that she's parlayed into some remarkable opportunities and accolades this year. Yuval, welcome to the show. It's good to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. First and foremost, how's your family doing during this time? Is everybody healthy and well?
Healthy and well, absolutely.
Fantastic. Good to hear that. Good to hear that. So you graduated from SCVI last year, and very, very, very tardy congratulations on that. But what have you been doing since you left us? Are you going to school? Are you in the workforce? What's up?
I am currently going to Baldwin-Wallace University in Ohio. Yeah, it's pretty much what I'm up to.
Well, that'll keep you busy, won't it? That's so that's up in northern Ohio, kind of near Cleveland, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Berea, Ohio, which is right outside of Cleveland.
Oh, that can be cold, the wind whipping off of Lake Erie like that, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. Now, from what I understand, you guys had somewhat of a mild winter, but a mild winter on Lake Erie is probably worse than one of the worst Southern California winters ever, huh?
I mean, we got snow about a week ago, so if that answers your question.
Okay, well, I don't want to make you jealous at all. I'm lying. I kind of do. About a week ago, we were up in the 90s, Yuval.
Oof. I feel that in my soul.
Right? There you go. So, got a question. How did you find Baldwin-Wallace? What and then how did you ultimately end up on choosing that campus? It's a place that some of our listeners may not have even heard of. And so what was the location and the decision process that you went through last year?
So a couple of my teachers at SCVI actually went to Baldwin-Wallace, and yeah, they recommended the school to me, and I immediately looked into it, and I was like, Berea, Ohio, that sounds like the middle of nowhere, and I was right, but when I came to visit the school, it just seemed so great, and there was such a strong sense of community because I got to meet some students as well, and I mean, that pretty much made the decision for me, getting here and realizing how much everyone who was already here loved being here. And since then, I mean, I've felt that so strongly.
Oh, that's terrific. So they've made you feel at home.
Yeah.
So how's it going? How's your first year? It's almost over now. But how's it been?
It's been great. It's over. Finals week was just last week.
Oh, you're done already. All right.
Yeah. It was, I mean, as good as I could have asked for. I really feel like I made such great connections, and I feel like I learned so much already, which I wasn't expecting to be. It's kind of like whiplash. It happens so quickly.
Yep. Yeah. First year of college can do that. So, do you feel that you were prepared going into college? And let me give you my frame of reference. I kind of similar to you. I wouldn't necessarily put myself on the same plane, but when I was in high school, I was rather successful. I got A's and B's and did really well, found that seldom did I have to study for tests. And then when I got into college, it was just an absolute culture shock for me. I didn't know how to study. There were a couple of classes that I really struggled to to even pass. So how about you? Did you find that you were prepared for college? And then, if so, how do you feel that SCVI did in preparing you for life after high school?
I do think I was prepared for college. I think that hard courses come and go because that's just how they are. Mm-hmm. And I definitely struggled keeping up some grades at some times, but I feel very prepared. I felt very prepared. I think SCVI gave me a lot of tools that I didn't have before that, like time management, which I worked on a lot in high school. And I think SCVI also did a really good job at creating a very safe space where I felt very respected, which I think helps me a lot now, feeling like, when it comes to feeling like an individual in my classes and talking to my professors and connecting with them.
You know, that's interesting, you all, and I've spoken with a couple of our graduates over the last few years, and they've said something similar. And I want to ask you a difficult question. The ultimate question is going to be, why do you think that is? But what I'm hearing is a lot of SCVI graduates talk about how oftentimes, especially in their larger classes, you know, in college, you can get classes of 50, 60, 80, 100 people sometimes. And what we're hearing from a lot of our graduates is that sometimes in the larger classes and in the smaller classes, it becomes a dialogue between them and their professor, almost as if a lot of the other students aren't able to participate in the discussion, that they don't approach or interact with their professors as much, but they feel that they're comfortable with the professors, they can carry on that academic dialogue. Is that something that you've felt, that you've sensed, and if so, why do you think that is?
I don't think I've ever gotten caught in a dialogue between my professor and I, because I do think that I have pretty much a class that I have all my courses with. I think everyone in my class is pretty good at keeping a conversation rolling and participating, but I do feel like I'm a lot more comfortable participating than I would have been without the preparation that SCVI gave me. I think that at SCVI, there was just a really good understanding of respect between all the teachers and the students. I never felt like a child or like a student. You know?
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. You know, one of the first things that kind of struck me when I first started working at SCVI is, and I say it tongue-in-cheek, obviously, is that our learners kind of, rather than getting prepared for the real world, our learners have that audacity to think that they're already living in the world and can participate now. And so you're right. That's something that I think our staff does a great job out there, kind of getting out of the way and letting the kids take the spotlight, take ownership of their education. Now, speaking of taking ownership of things, I heard that you recently received a pretty significant award, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I received the trustee scholarship going into VW. It's a merit scholarship for the school. I'm very honored. I'm very flattered. I'm not sure what to say.
So that's great. You received a trustee scholarship for your academic merit. Now, was that based on your performance in high school, or is it based on your performance now freshman year?
It's based on my performance in high school.
Oh, terrific. Well, congratulations. Yeah. That is great. And has that been able to take a chunk out of your tuition this year? Was it a significant award?
Oh, absolutely. It's been incredibly helpful. Thank you.
That is fantastic. Congratulations. And so I was gonna assume that you, like most of college students, you're working on your classes from home. But you told me before we started the show that you stayed out there in Ohio. Are you doing distance learning, or are you guys actually in class?
I still did online classes. It's just easier for me to work from here on campus. Because I take a bunch of performance and dance classes, and I didn't have space at home. That was a big part of it. So it was a lot of recording videos on my own and writing up papers instead of building things for certain classes or performing things for certain classes.
Wow, really challenging for you and your professors to adapt to those classes that are performance-based, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We got through it.
Now, so you said you're done for the year. Are you coming home for the summer?
I am.
Fantastic. And what have you heard about next year? Have they made any announcements at BW? Do you think you're going to be going back to classes in person? Are you guys going to stay remote like they just announced here a lot of the universities in California?
I haven't heard anything official yet, but as far as I can tell, I will be coming back for classes in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten a few emails with not official, but...
Right. I think that's still everybody, or just about everybody now's plan A, and they're planning as if, but very few folks are willing to go ahead and make an announcement yet. But like I said, the California State Universities made that announcement yesterday. They're staying virtual for the fall. So let's keep our fingers crossed for you, Yuval. Now, I know you just finished your freshman year. And so you've still got a lot of time, but do you have any ideas about what you're going to be doing after graduation, maybe grad school, going directly into your career? Do you know what you want to do after you graduate BW?
Again, no solid plans, but I would love for grad school to be an option.
Okay.
I'm really just trying to keep that as open as possible. But other than that, I want to stay in the Midwest, maybe here in Cleveland, maybe somewhere else, Chicago, somewhere up here. I really like it.
Oh, wow. You really take
really
to
want
it,
to
huh?
stay. Yeah, and I want to stay where theater happens, in a more concentrated space.
Okay. That sounds good. And your family's cool with that?
I mean, they're not really being asked, but I hope.
I love that. You're a leader, Yuval. I love it. All right. So, last question I want to ask you is advice that you might give to those learners that are maybe a year or two behind you. Now that you have a year of college experience under your belt, what advice would you give to high school seniors that are graduating this year? I know their graduation is going to be significantly different than it usually is, but as they head off following in your footsteps and are looking forward to college in the fall, what advice could you give those graduating seniors?
I was thinking about this, and I think that when I first came to college, I was really nervous to be excited about being there, but I want to say that you're allowed to feel however you want to feel, whether that's excited or stressed or whatever it is. This is such a big adjustment, and it's so new, and it's so weird, and it's very temporary, so make the most out of it, feel the most out of it as you can, because the concept of cool and edgy and trendy doesn't exist. And, go to your classes and participate and talk to your professors, because that's really, really important.
Well,
but, don't stress out about it. It's okay.
I love that. That's beautifully wise advice, that you're allowed to feel how you feel. I hope producer Sarah was writing that down. That's something that we need to publish somewhere. Yuval, thank you so much for your time. And again, congratulations on everything that you're accomplishing, the scholarship that you received, all the wonderful things that you're doing out there in BW. Hopefully we'll be able to check in with you sometime real soon.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. Have a wonderful summer.
You too.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with some of that information that we were talking about, the announcements that were made at the CSUs yesterday. You are listening to SCVI Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
We salute our veterans who sacrificed for our freedom.
Santa Clarita veteran Bill Reynolds.
Each week, we share an inspirational story of a local veteran on our Hometown Heroes page at hometownstation.com. Thanks to our good friends at Eternal Valley.
I'm Richard Nunnally, General Manager of Eternal Valley Memorial Park and Mortuary. We believe taking care of each other is what community is all about. We're proud to bring you the stories of our hometown heroes.
Eternal Valley, life well celebrated.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town New Hall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
I never thought I'd be looking for an assisted living home until Mom got sick. Suddenly, there were questions that I didn't have answers to, and only limited time to find the answers. What facility could take the best care of Mom? Then my mother's social worker gave me a brochure for assisted living locators and informed me that assisted living locators is recommended by more healthcare professionals than any other agency.
Call Shannon at Assisted Living Locators, 544-1004. That's 544-1004.
CBC Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. CBC is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have CBC clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker has been ranked the 15th most influential person in the entire Santa Clarita Valley in 2010 by the Santa Clarita Valley Business Journal. When everything is on the line, call the Hacker Law Group.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station. 98.1 on the FM dial and 1220 AM. This is SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley's Homeschooling Answers with Matt Watson. Well, we talked at the top of the hour about all the news going on yesterday and today here in our valley as well as surrounding areas, and I want to talk to you about a couple of those things before we get to our next guest. First of all, as you know, we had a hotly contested special election going on yesterday, the 25th Congressional District special election to replace our representative in Congress. Katie Hill's seat was vacated back in November, and so we had that special election yesterday. Back on Super Tuesday, if you recall, there were about a dozen candidates that threw their hat in the ring, and it came down to the two top vote getters, Mike Garcia and Christy Smith, and so they had a runoff which ended yesterday. Thousands and thousands of ballots cast by mail. There was also voting in person, and they're still counting as they always do, but it looks like the good majority of precincts are reporting, and at last update, it looked like Mike Garcia had about 57% of the vote, with Christy Smith around 44%. So I don't believe that they are calling it at this point. But it looks like the Garcia camp, Republican Mike Garcia, his background as a fighter pilot and small business owner, it looks like their camp is very cautiously and optimistic right now. And I would say they're cautiously very optimistic right now. So going to hold off on congratulating Mike, but it looks like that's the way things are going. As you are probably aware, this is a seat in Congress with significant implications, not just for our 25th district, which covers Simi Valley, small portions of the northern San Fernando Valley, most of the Santa Clarita Valley, Acton, Agua Dulce, and up into the Antelope Valley areas. But this has got implications nationwide as it shifts quite a bit the balance of power there in Congress. So this was something that a lot of national players weighed in on, with Hillary Clinton and President Donald Trump both throwing their endorsements behind their respective parties' candidates. So very interesting. Now, with, again, presumably Mike Garcia taking that seat, he's only going to hold it for about 6 months before he's got a battle for re-election. That seat is back up in the next election cycle in November. That's something that we talked about, Mike, with here on Eye on the Valley a few weeks ago, about that kind of that balance of trying to get in as a freshman and learning the job and doing the job, balanced with getting his campaign started up. I know he was on the phone with a lot of folks in his camp last night talking about what that might look like. So yeah, you can imagine he's got a quick turnaround, and he's got a lot of work to do. He's going to be a busy guy. Again, presumably that Mike Garcia will be the one occupying that seat here very, very soon. But again, there are still precincts that need to be reported, so we're going to hold off on calling that. But yeah, interesting results to yesterday's election. And as I mentioned at the top of the hour, there was also some interesting news that affected me and my family, and I know it affected hundreds of thousands of families around the country, and certainly here in the state of California. So it's just a really quick synopsis. The California State Universities announced yesterday that they would be going to, or that they would be staying with distance learning, that their campuses would remain closed for the fall semester. So again, this is the California State University system. They've got 23 campuses up and down California, from CSUN right here in our backyard, my alma mater, Cal State Northridge, to the campus that my son declared that he was going to be heading off to in the fall, San Francisco State. We've got San Jose State, Chico State. There's a bunch of different campuses statewide.
The one that I'm going to, Cal State Bakersfield. Shout them out.
There we go, Cal State Bakersfield. So Shane, I believe you're going to be graduating this semester. Am I correct?
Actually, after the fall semester.
Oh, so after the fall semester. So you're going to be finishing up remotely. So this affects you directly as well. You're not heading back to campus next semester.
No, and I actually transitioned recently. I was a part of COCs. They helped me get enrolled at Cal State Bakersfield, so I would take some physical classes on that campus at the University Center, as well as some online, but they recently just transitioned the communications program to entirely online, so I didn't really have that big of a change anyway.
So this didn't affect you much, but it does affect, like I said, thousands and thousands of students across the state, whether they're returning or new freshmen or transfer students enrolling. So those 23 campuses have announced that their campuses are going to remain closed. They're going to remain on distance learning for the fall. So they are the first major university or major university system, major school system in California, and I think the nation, to I could be wrong there, but to announce that they're going to remain with distance learning for the fall semester. And this has got some implications that goes beyond their organization. Obviously, as we've seen with a lot of these different announcements, this can affect how other people play things. And so obviously the first question is, well, what about the other major university system here in California, the UCs, talking about Berkeley, UCLA, UC Davis, things like that? Well, they haven't made an announcement yet, and the stakes are a bit different for them. As you know, many of the UCs have major sports programs that they rely on for tremendous funding for their organizations. I'm talking about places like UCLA and Berkeley. They are Pac-12 schools that rely heavily on those athletic revenues. And if they announce distance learning, if they announce that campuses are closed for the fall, then that makes it real hard to then sort of contradictorily announce that we're going to continue forward with football season, which is one of their main money getters. So that might be difficult for them. I'm sure they're still weighing those options for the fall. But obviously it also brings up questions like, okay, is this fall only? What about spring semester? I'm certain that those are decisions that are still a long way off. But what other dominoes are going to fall down? Obviously, no one knows, but this could be, that first announcement here in California that others decide to get behind, so what's going to happen with, for example, the K-12 public system? What are they going to announce? What about the junior colleges? Are they going to follow suit? Obviously, once you have the first major organization make this announcement, it gets a little bit easier for some of those other organizations, like I said, like the K-12 or perhaps the community college system. It might make their decision a little bit easier. They catch a little bit less of the fallout behind the decision because somebody else was already out there making that decision. And then obviously it can have other ramifications on the community college system, which we're going to be talking about next break. We do have a guest from COC coming up next break, Paul Wickline. He's the Vice President of Educational Pathways, and so I do want to get to him. So, Shane, let's go ahead and take our quick commercial break. When we come back, like I said, we'll be talking with Paul Wickline from COC. He's the Vice President of Educational Pathways. We'll be talking about what this decision, how this decision affects COC and their students. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
These days, it's hard to figure out how to fill all the self-isolation time, let alone figure out what to have for lunch or dinner. Salt Creek Grill owner Greg Amsler is helping us out in a big, big way. Salt Creek is now offering takeout and curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Now, if you'd like, you could stay at home. They participate with Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, and Grubhub. Their entire menu is available for pickup or delivery, including to-go beer and wine. Hey. In addition, Greg's offering wine at 25% off, along with daily specials. If you'd like to buy a gift card for a future visit, now's the time. Buy a $50 gift card and get $10 extra on the card completely free. Buy a $100 gift card, you get an extra $25. Salt Creek Grill, located next to Regal Cinema at the Valencia Mall. For more info, go to saltcreekgrill.com.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
Facey knows life gets busy. Let us go to work for you in the Santa Clarita Valley. We have 34 primary care physicians and 55 specialty doctors in 4 offices. And Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS with some extended hour appointments available. We are Facey Medical Group. Let us go to work for you today. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, your host. You are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. We were talking last break about the decision just handed down by the California State University systems to keep their campuses closed for the fall semester and continue with distance learning. We're joined now by the Associate Vice President of Educational Pathways at College of the Canyons, Paul Wickline. We want to talk with him about how this decision may be affecting their campus, and then in turn what they're able to do to help those families that may be affected by this decision. Good morning, Paul. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
I am a little bit embarrassed. We got you kind of last minute. Normally, I'm prepared with a bit of an introduction to my guests, so I'm going to have to hand the heavy lifting off to you this morning. Before we get started with our questions, can you maybe give us a little bit of background? Who are you? What do you do for COC?
Absolutely, happy to. Well, I was hired in 2008 as a theater professor and the department chair, and eventually became a dean of social and behavioral sciences. And then 2 years ago, I accepted the position as associate vice president to oversee our pathways efforts at the college.
Well, fantastic. And so once we heard the decision late yesterday by the Cal State University systems, we reached out to you and your team to see if you could come on and talk about it. So how is this decision to keep at least the Cal State system right now closed in the fall, how is this affecting you all and your enrollment at COC?
Yeah, it's a great question. Certainly we monitor and are in close contact with our CSU and UC partners to see how their decision-making is progressing, what factors they're considering as they make those decisions. You know, we have the luxury of being governed by a local board. All 73 community college districts in the state are locally governed. And so we make decisions, obviously, based on what our system office, our California Community College Chancellor's Office, provides, but they leave a lot of those decisions up to local control. And then we obviously are very responsive to the information we're getting from our county and also from local conversations and decisions that are taking place. But ultimately, we, like the CSUs, are thinking very carefully about student safety first and foremost, and being very thoughtful about how we bring programs back online. But we have a full summer and a full fall planned. Some of that planning, which is quite different, I think, in many ways from CSU, does involve programs coming back onto campus with very careful safety protocols and social distancing in place. So we're having those conversations now. And so we have and I can certainly talk about what those decisions are and what those category 1 and 2 classes are that we've designated as potential programs to return. But I think we're in a very good position because we've been facing this reality since mid-March. Right. And we are well prepared, having learned a lot of lessons through the last month and a half, 2 months, and are really ready to go with a mostly online or distance education summer, which is filling very fast. We're getting excellent enrollments this summer. I think some of that is partially due to the CSU situation. Mm-hmm. And I suspect we're going to see some of that higher enrollment in the fall as well. We are open and ready to serve our students both through online courses and what we're calling distance education, which is a combination of both kind of real-time delivery of instruction through Zoom or other interfaces that allow that, and also asynchronous or kind of students working on their own and checking in with the instructor as needed.
Yeah, it's kind of, what we call, at least in K-12, kind of the flipped classroom where a lot of that, like I say, the heavy lifting is done by the student on their own as they have resources and prompts and readings and things like that to do, and then it's the deeper level discussion that takes place in person or at the same time, as you will. So
absolutely.
I did mention, just a few days ago, my son had declared that he was heading off to San Francisco State, but we had to have a very long conversation last night about, okay, what about now? Is this still something that you want to do? And I know there are a lot of families across the state that are having similar discussions, whether they're incoming freshmen like my son or returning students. Now, you said that you guys are available for families that are reconsidering their decisions. Have you guys got the capacity to maybe take a significant amount of these students that otherwise would be heading to a Cal State in the fall?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely, we are ready. We are adjusting our fall schedule slightly to include a few more online classes, but trying to also maintain a balance of our remote delivery or distance ed classes in a lot of our general education areas like history, psychology, English, math, but also offering online. And we're providing significant professional development to our faculty. As part of our requirement for faculty to teach in this distance education mode in the fall, we require training in our Canvas system, which helps deliver that instruction. We also require pedagogy and andragogy training, so faculty really understand how best to provide that instruction. So we're very intentional about how we provide the training that faculty need, and we have the capacity to add additional classes relatively quickly as we see demand increase. We always look at our wait lists, and we begin to add additional classes as quickly as demand indicates. Very responsive in that area. So I would also mention that our faculty have done just tremendous work to figure out how to bring programs online that typically have not been able to be offered online. Some of our chem labs, for example, using virtual labs. So we're doing tremendous work, I think, to make sure that we're available, we're very flexible, very nimble to provide programming to our students, and that includes those students that will not have that opportunity to go to a CSU or a UC in the fall.
That is great to hear. You know, we at iLead Schools are constantly reaching out to our graduates to see how things are going and what support we can provide even after they leave our schools. And the students that we've been speaking with that are currently enrolled at COC talked about how it was rather seamless for most of their classes, that they were able to move into the online learning. They felt very supported and very comfortable this semester. It's good to hear that you guys have a series of professional development that you're doing with your staff, because it's not the same thing, right? It's
right.
Not just flip on the camera and continue with lecture as normal. The way we teach has to be different, and so I'm glad to hear that you guys are providing that support for your instructional staff as well. Now, you guys also made the decision early on to move back your application deadline, so those families that now are affected by this decision, they still have time to apply and enroll for summer and fall session, correct?
Right, absolutely. So we'll release our fall schedule. We're making our final adjustments over the next couple weeks, and then we'll release certainly by the first week of June, and that's well in advance of registration, which will probably start in July for our current students, and then have certainly counselors and advisors and others on hand to provide students with assistance and support they need. I should mention as well that we have all of our library, our tutor services, our counseling service, all those services made the transition online and are extremely busy and very, I think, successful in delivering those services remotely. So, again, I go back to the idea of being nimble and responsive. I think we were set up over the last several years in the development of our ability to offer effective online instruction and online counseling, that making that switch for us was relatively, I wouldn't say easy. Nothing about this is easy at all.
Sure.
But relatively seamless and relatively quick. So I'm very proud of the work that our faculty, staff, and administrators have done, certainly with the leadership of our Chancellor, Dr. Van Hook.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's quite the innovator herself.
Absolutely.
So now I believe, I spoke with one of your colleagues a little earlier this week, I believe the application deadline for summer and fall sessions is June 1st. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not like a CSU or a UC where there's some kind of deadline where we don't then allow students to continue, right? We are open access. I love to say that we accept the top 100% of all students. So it really depends on how many units they may have achieved already. If they were taking dual or concurrent enrollment in our high schools, they then come into COC with more units accumulated, and then they get an earlier registration period. They also get earlier registration if they're a veteran or if they're another special population status. So there's a number of things in Ed Code that require us to provide priority registration to certain students.
That is fantastic. So it's almost like a flexible, apply by June 1st, but if you miss that deadline or you're still working on, do I want to go to Cal State Dominguez Hills or do I want to stick around? It's still flexible. It's good to hear that with the distance learning, you've got the room. You're no longer confined by those four walls of a classroom or a lectorium, right?
Absolutely. With some exceptions, we in the fall for our essential infrastructure classes, our welding classes, our land surveying, those kinds of classes, we are working on creating protocols to reduce the number of students in those classes to make sure that we serve students safely. But the large majority of our general ed classes really are, easily moved online, and we're doing a good job, I think, of offering as many sections as necessary.
That is so good to hear. Paul, I thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate everything that you and your colleagues at COC are doing to not only make sure that kids have a viable option to make decisions, but we've got such high quality higher education right here at home in Santa Clarita. We appreciate your time. It is time for us to check in on local and national news stories and the latest updates right now, but stick around. We will be back soon. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Yes, Dunkin' is open. The continued stay-at-home orders have been rough on all of us, but Dunkin' is trying to make things just a little bit better. There are many ways to get your Dunkin' fix. You can carry out at both locations, or you can drive through at Canyon Country, or get curbside service at the Bouquet Canyon Dunkin'. Both offer Grubhub and Postmates delivery and are open till 6 p.m. Don't forget, use your Dunkin' app for on the go to order, pay, and accumulate points. Dunkin' cares about the SCV.
Hey guys, Cardinellis here with Unipest Termite and Pest Control, and today we're going to talk about killing the coronavirus with heat. Now the short answer is yes. Just like we exterminate bedbugs with heat, you can kill viruses, microbes, and pathogens like the coronavirus family of viruses with heat as well. The longer answer is, though we do not have exact data on the new COVID-19 coronavirus heat thresholds yet, we have tons of information from previous coronaviruses such as MERS and SARS, from which we can draw reasonable scientific inferences from, and were killed for years with heat. People may not realize it, but SARS and MERS were both coronaviruses, and epidemiologically, COVID-19 is similar. Because these viruses are spread through microdroplets of saliva in the air and on surfaces, coronavirus can be killed by raising the temperature of a living space, including the HVAC system, to over 160 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours. Now, it's important to remember that heat treatments can kill existing viruses but cannot prevent future exposure. Heat treatments kill microbes and viruses that already exist in the room but cannot prevent carriers from reinfecting that room the second we leave, and that's why individual self-quarantine and sanitation measures are in place. Heat is not a replacement for social distancing and self-quarantine, but can sanitize an environment. So if you have an office building, a church, or a residence you want treated against any of these viruses with heat, call us at 661-284-7575.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
Consumers Furniture is back open for your business. The safety of our community and our staff, above all, is most important to us. We will provide a safe and clean environment for you to find the perfect piece of furniture for your home. To help you with your purchase, we are offering 25% off your entire order or 24 months same as cash financing. And for our awesome essential workers, we will deliver locally your furniture free of charge. Consumers Furniture is located in the Centerpoint Shopping Center below Sam's Club and Walmart.
Dreaming of becoming the next Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, or maybe just you want your kid to look good and have fun on the court?
Introducing the Shockmaster. The Shockmaster is a revolutionary basketball training aid that isolates the shooting pocket, allows you to develop that consistent shot. Shockmaster will improve your shooting efficiency, accuracy, and shooting percentages dramatically. It's the ultimate training device. There's nothing like it. Visit shotmaster.net and discover for yourself how Shotmaster will become your game changer. Shotmaster.net.
With many auto dealers currently closed, Reeves Complete Auto Center is open to handle service and repairs for your vehicle. With a 2-year, 24,000-mile parts and labor warranty, Dave Reeves and his team have been exceeding their customers' expectations for decades. Reeves Complete Auto Center is here for you while your dealer is closed. On Soledad and Ruther, ReevesService.com. Reeves Complete Auto Center, caring about Santa Clarita and you.
KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
The nation's capital will stay locked down. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Washington, D.C.'s mayor extending her stay-home order until June 8th, even as Fed Chief Jay Powell sounds the alarm about the dangers of a prolonged recession.
The loss of thousands of small and medium-sized businesses across the country would destroy the life's work and family legacy of many businesses.
He says more help from the government may be needed, suggesting it's worth the cost if it helps avoid long-term economic damage. This rattling Wall Street, the Dow dropping over 500 points, the S&P and the NASDAQ have also been down over 2%. But there's a partisan divide over the $3 trillion relief bill unveiled yesterday by House Democrats, who say it's urgently needed.
It's dead on arrival in the United States Senate. The question is, how do we get something that truly meets the American needs without being counterproductive, but indeed puts us in a pathway so we can go forward as coronavirus continues?
Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy among the Republicans who say the package amounts to a left-wing wish list. That proposal includes nearly $1 trillion in aid to state and local governments, as some continue to warn that shortfalls will lead to cuts. Michigan announcing layoffs.
The coronavirus crisis and Michigan's response to it is causing the state to lay off 31,000, or nearly 2/3 of state employees, with 2 unpaid workdays per pay period through at least late July, amid Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer's continued shutdown orders and a budget crisis, a move that's expected to save the state $80 million, utilizing the federal work share program. The layoffs will not affect state troopers, prison guards, and others working on the front lines.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Later today, President Trump meets with 2 more governors at the White House from Colorado and North Dakota. America is listening to Fox News.
From nurses to truck drivers, doctors to grocery clerks, the front lines in today's crisis are filled with brave actions every day. And you can do your part by completing the 2020 census. This simple effort online, by phone, or by mail will help impact the next 10 years of healthcare, schools, and roads. All of our first responders need your response. So go to 2020census.gov today. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
The Democratic Party still planning to hold a national convention this summer in person, but they've hit the just-in-case phase.
The DNC's Bylaws Committee passed a resolution giving the panel overseeing the party's convention the power to change the size, format, and location of the event. The committee will also allow delegates to vote remotely. The DNC has already pushed the convention from July until August in Milwaukee. The full committee still needs to vote on the resolution. Chairman Tom Perez says he still hopes to have an exciting and inspiring convention in Milwaukee, but says contingency planning is needed. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The FBI and Homeland Security officials accusing China of trying to steal information on COVID-19 research. At least that's the implication in a new public service announcement warning healthcare, pharmaceutical, and other groups to protect their systems. following a recent warning from U.S. and British cybersecurity agencies about government-backed hackers targeting health and research entities. As businesses begin to reopen, you may notice some things are missing.
Refilling your own soft drink at some fast food places may be a thing of the past. As they reopen, some 15,000 Burger King, Popeyes, and Tim Hortons locations across North America won't have self-serve soda machines. In an open letter from the store's parent company, Restaurant Brands International, the locations will be offering drinks, extra condiments, and trays from behind the front counter. It's one move to make the public more confident about dining in again. The company is also moving to design face masks that will become a permanent part of employee uniforms, as well as having staff sanitize tables and chairs after each use. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Other items that used to be self-serve, for instance, bags of potato chips at a Subway restaurant, have also been moved behind the counter, at least at some locations. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
Right now at IHOP, order any breakfast combo and we'll sweeten the deal with all-you-can-eat pancakes. So get out your all-you-can-eat silverware, because these pancakes aren't gonna all-you-can-eat themselves, because pancakes don't do that. Get IHOP's all-you-can-eat pancakes with any breakfast combo. Or just get the all-you-can-eat pancakes for $4.99. What else you got going on today?
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker has been ranked the 15th most influential person in the entire Santa Clarita Valley in 2010 by the Santa Clarita Valley Business Journal. When everything is on the line, call the Hacker Law Group.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVI, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLead's founding school, SCVI combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVI has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
The Santa Clarita Safer at Home restrictions are starting to loosen, and Santa Clarita Lanes is ready to go. They're reopening on Saturday morning, May 16th at 9. Santa Clarita Lanes is committed to adhering to safety guidelines with 6 feet social distancing, plus extra cleaning and sanitizing throughout the day. Masks and temperature checks are required to enter. Santa Clarita Lanes is the perfect place to bring the kids who are getting just a bit restless. Feel confident that your local bowling alley is safe and clean. Odd lanes will open from 9 to 4, then close for an hour of cleaning and sanitizing, with even lanes being opened at 5 through 11 p.m. Santa Clarita Lanes, the perfect place for you and your family to have fun during these trying times. At Soledad near Center Point Parkway. Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Mostly cloudy today with highs going up to the mid-70s, overnight lows in the 50s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, including the latest on COVID-19 here in the Santa Clarita area, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, your host. You are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Well, we've got a surprise call-in guest this morning. I mentioned earlier in the show, yesterday we had the final day of our special election for the 25th Congressional District seat that was vacated by Katie Hill back in November. We've got Mike Garcia on the line, and again, nobody has called anything quite yet, but election results are looking pretty strongly in the favor of Mr. Garcia. Mike, good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You know, it was a hard-fought election cycle, and congratulations to your opponent, Christy Smith, as well. But again, like I said, nobody's called anything yet, but I do want to give a cautious but early congratulations to you. So.
Well, thank you very much, and I want to thank not only you but the entire KHTS team and all of the listeners. You know, you guys have been one of the early venues and opportunities for me to help get the message out over the course of the last year and a half. So I really do appreciate it. It's been a wild ride and a lot of twists and turns, but I think it worked out very well, and looking forward to serving this beautiful district and getting to work as soon as possible here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. Now you're presumably shifting to transition phase. What's that going to look like over the next couple of weeks? I'm not sure that I even know. Assuming that the election is certified in your favor, how quickly will you find yourself in D.C. and what does that transition process look like?
Yeah, still not 100% clarity on timing of things. It may be a couple of weeks with California certifying the election. And as you know, Washington, D.C. is completely shut down right now. So we're working through the details on when I will be going back to be sworn in, and also when I'll be back to actually start working with the rest of the members. And in the meantime, I'm looking at getting my staff pulled together, getting our agenda pulled together, and hit the ground running as soon as the green light is. That's the priority right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about hit the ground running. It's a short session for any congressperson. You've only got 2 years before you're back up for re-election. But in your case, we're talking about a matter of what's it going to be 6-8 months before your seat is up for re-election. So hitting the ground running is going to be incredibly important. You and I talked about it a couple of weeks back, but now that it's starting to become a bit more of a reality, I know you've got some conversations to do with your team, but what are going to be your priorities here over the next 6-8 months?
Yeah, that's right. So, the reality is we really haven't had a representative at the federal level for about 7 or 8 months. So there's a tremendous amount of backlog of casework that needs to be done. Our constituents haven't been getting the help with several key things, Social Security, veterans benefits, So really tackling those, making sure we're putting customer service first, and that our constituents are getting what they need, and catching up on all of that. When you combine that with the fact that a lot of government agencies themselves right now are on limited operations, that makes it even more important for us to be aggressive and really make sure we're taking folks. So that's priority number one. Combined with making sure that all of our small businesses and the employees are still receiving their COVID-19 relief checks and all the support, whether it's the Paycheck Protection Program or the Economic Injury Disaster Loans and grants that come with that. So really making sure that anyone that had something coming to them from the CARES Act and the COVID-19 relief are getting what they are expecting and helping people navigate that. And those two things, along with a few other initiatives that we'll talk about later, are the priorities, taking care of our folks. And it's not a long time, but we will have time to make things right and get us back on step, bring a little pride and dignity back to this office, and look forward to running again in November. We've got another election in November, so those are the main priorities.
Yeah, you're going to be in an interesting situation. Again, we talked about it before, but where you're coming in, and from your very first couple days in office, you're already looking forward to re-election, that election that's going to be in November. Is that going to be a difficult balance for you as you're campaigning for re-election, even in the very first days of being in office?
Yeah, I mean, none of this is easy. It hasn't been easy since day one. The complexity level's going up, but I've got the best team in the country, both hopefully in the office with me as well as on the campaign side here shortly. So we're looking forward to it. This is why we're doing this, and it's going to be a huge honor to perform, to represent and execute, and help folks in the district while also securing the follow-on 2 years. And so yeah, it'll be challenging, but we've got the support of the community, a lot of the local leadership, all the mayors in the district. And last night's results were pretty resounding, very humbling. It wasn't that close of a race, and we're hoping that this thing gets nailed down here and certified quickly, so I can get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of work to do here in the district. You mentioned the seat that's been vacant for quite a while now, and you referred to it. With the pandemic going on, it's been interesting, the different things going on here in the Santa Clarita Valley and district-wide, where our rates of infection and things like that have been kept relatively low. However, our unemployment rates are some of the top in the nation, so folks do need relief as quickly as possible. So hopefully as soon as you can take office, you can help us get some of that relief that we need.
Yeah, and absolutely. And looking forward to, in cooperation with the mayors and the city councils and the chambers, helping us all get comfortable with getting back to work as soon as possible, so that, the real way to come out of this downturn is to turn the lights back on, start working, and safely getting back to work without risking the infection rates that we were seeing earlier in this COVID-19 crisis. So that's the objective, that's the goal, and I think it's a doable do. We've just got to work as a community, keep our eye on the goal, and do things safely while we do it. But I have no doubt that, especially the folks in Santa Clarita, Antelope Valley, and Simi Valley, we're capable of doing it. And with Princess Cruise here in our backyard, Magic Mountain shut down, and a lot of the Hollywood production stuff shut down. We are the hardest hit district in the nation right now in terms of unemployment. So we've got to figure out how to get things going again and still be safe doing it, but I have no doubt we'll be able to.
Well, if there's anybody in the country that can, you're right. The communities that you're about to serve are the ones that are able to pull it together. But we are going to be counting on an advocate and a leader like someone like yourself. They're working and advocating for us. It's a delicate balance of making sure that people stay safe and healthy, but a huge part of that health is the mental and economic health that we all depend on getting things back going. Do you foresee any significant, there's always going to be significant challenges, but what do you see as the biggest challenge or obstacle in getting us back to work while doing so healthily?
I think it's a new social norm that we're all going to have to adapt to. I think, when we still are at risk of the COVID-19 infections, we'll need to take measures to mitigate that risk. So in restaurants, things will change, and there's going to be growing pains, and we need to be patient with the business owners. We need to be patient with the clientele, and recognize that we're all just trying to make ends meet here. And the more we can get back to a normal state of affairs, the quicker this will happen. So it's going to require cooperation. It's going to require people to be patient. And as your federal representative, it's going to require as much assistance as we can get to the individual Americans and citizens, but also the small business owners, so they can stay fluid through this and cross this bridge, and ultimately not require support at that point, and be able to thrive on their own again like they were before. So that it's a doable do.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of folks that need support, but that support and the policies that are going to need to be enacted are going to require cooperation across the aisle, cooperation across different regions of our country. So hopefully that's something that you can pull together. This isn't something that we need to draw battle lines. We need to come together and really work for the good of your district and constituents, but then everybody across the country to get our nation, our state, and our district back to the position where we belong.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to remind ourselves to buy America. To not only buy products made in America, but also continue to invest in the American dream. Continue to be willing to take those risks, and there will be a return on those investments for you. We're gonna survive this, and we're gonna get stronger on the backside of it. And I do believe it will be sooner rather than later. So let's double down on Buy America right now, and that will help us get through it in a quicker fashion for sure.
Absolutely. Mike, I do know that you've got a busy schedule today, and you've got a lot of things to get to. I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show. We appreciate it. And again, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, KHTS, and all the folks out there. It's very humbling. It's my honor and privilege. Look forward to this. And a quick shout-out to all of the high school grads out there. I know you're coming up on unceremonious graduations, but keep your head up. Hopefully we have plenty of jobs out there for you in the near future, and plenty of education opportunities as well. So congratulations, each and every one of you. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mike. You be well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. So, Shane, how we doing here? Do we need to get to commercial, or do we have a few minutes?
We have a few minutes if you want to go for it, but it's entirely up to you. You're the host, man.
Well, yeah, let's you and I talk a little bit, because I do want to shift into a conversation that I want to continue on our next break. Again, congratulations to Mike Garcia. Not ready to call things yet, but it's looking that way as our nation moves into not back to normal, because we're not going back to anything. Things weren't right the way they were. But we're going to move into that new normal, new level of prosperity, and things are going to look different, like Mike said. And you and I are sports fans.
Yes.
And I know some of our listeners are sports fans. Not everyone is, but I want you to follow me on this. We're going to talk baseball for just a couple of minutes, because as often is the case here in our country, baseball is not only a metaphor, but a strong reflection of what's going on in and around our country. So baseball, like all the other major sports, is trying to get back to work. I know basketball, God bless them, they're trying to get back this season, trying to salvage a season. Not sure if anything's gonna happen there. The NFL is looking to have something that's not abbreviated, but baseball, we should be well into the first month, actually heading into the second month of baseball right now, and they're talking about not starting the season until July 4th weekend, right? With an abbreviated season, they're talking about maybe doing a half season, right? And that, of course, for the players would mean, and I put this in quotes, abbreviated pay.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, because, baseball, unlike basketball and football, they rely, not mostly, but a significant portion of the owner's income comes through ticket sales, hot dog sales, the $20 beers that you get out at the ballpark there. So with fans not being able to come out to the games, that's significantly cut in. So obviously that has to be reflected in what players are going to earn. And so the players and the owners have come to the table to negotiate what this is going to look like. What the owners have proposed is that players take essentially, is it about a half salary if they're going to be playing a half season? and then using the revenues that come in, and they're proposing that they split the revenues 50-50 with the players. Have you heard anything about that, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm caught up on that, totally.
So, but the players aren't happy with that.
No, they are not.
They're not. The players have come back and, they've kind of pushed back on that. And at first glance, I was thinking, wait a minute, you're playing half the games. You're going to get half your salary. You're going to get half the revenues. This kind of works out. It seems logical. But the players then, their rebuttal is, right, we're getting half of our salary. We're getting half of the revenues, but we're taking all of the risk. The owners are still going to sit in their same isolated offices. The GMs will be able to remain isolated, but we're the ones on the field putting our health at risk and then going home and putting the health of our families at risk. And they bring up a really good point. And I know that the optics on billionaires arguing with millionaires again is never good, especially in these times when so many people are out of work and just struggling to make ends meet. But again, it is an interesting reflection of what's going on in our country. We'll talk about it a little bit next break. But even if you are a millionaire or a billionaire, you've got to fight for your interests, right? Nobody wants to have to downsize their mansion, am I right? Again, seems a little bit asinine to talk about, but we're arguing the merits of wealth versus health. Okay, you can maybe see where I'm going with this. They're arguing wealth versus health. Who gets X amount of dollars versus who's putting their health at risk. And we're having that argument on the community level, but the stakes are much, much higher here at the community level because we've got obviously less wiggle room. We're going to talk about that next break with the extension of the stay-at-home order and things like that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but do stick around. We've got more of that conversation coming up, and later on in the hour, we will have Christina Debray, our licensed marriage and family therapist, joining us. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Your building sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new, larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you with a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new, bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
Dutton Plumbing, it's Eric.
It's Mother. Can you come over right away? It's urgent.
I'll be right there, Mom. Okay, I'm here. What's wrong?
It's been weeks since you had a haircut, so I want to give you a nice trim. Sit down.
Ooh, ow.
Gee, I can see myself in the back of your head, son.
Mom.
Oops.
What happened?
Never mind. It'll grow back. So, what's new at Dutton Plumbing, son?
Well, with so many people stuck at home, there's a lot of stuff getting stuck in their pipes. So, our $73 drain clearing is really keeping us busy.
Wait a minute. I bet the plumber's hair is getting shaggy, too. You tell them that Mom will cut their hair for just $73.
Isn't that a little high for a haircut, Mom?
Well, I'll toss in the manscaping for free.
Mom!
DuttonPlumbing.com. Mom's $73 drain clearing at DuttonPlumbing.com. Manscaping not included.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
The month of May is National Foster Parent Appreciation Month. Become a resource to a child and their family Celebrate by applying to become a resource parent and fostering or foster adopting siblings. Children's Bureau is now offering an online foster adoption orientation for anyone, individuals, and or couples who are interested in helping children in foster care while reunifying with their birth families or to provide legal permanency by adoption. Call 1-800-730-3933 or visit allforkids.org. That is the number 4, allforkids.org.
Today for lunch, why not try The Sandwich Shop, located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. The Sandwich Shop offers dozens of hot or cold, affordable, premium deli sandwiches. Gourmet soups and salads are also available. Regulars indulge in the cheesy focaccia rolls, which is a customer favorite. Then top it off with owner Charlie Chung's chunky chocolate chip cookies. Breakfast and catering is also available. The Sandwich Shop, since 1983, located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. ValenciaSandwichShop.com to place your order.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. You're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson. Well, last break we were talking baseball, and I know some of you might not be the hardcore baseball fans that Shane and I are, but you know, we talked about baseball to get into this next conversation that really does affect every single one of us. It affects every single one of us in extremely personally and profound ways. So yesterday, the Los Angeles County Public Health Department announced an extension of the stay-at-home orders. And the quote that was put out is that the stay-at-home orders would be extended at least through July. And so obviously a lot of press took that quote and ran with it and said, look, we're going to be on quarantine. We're going to be locked down through July. What does this mean? Some obviously outlets are saying they can't do this. A lot of panic going on. Well, they did issue a statement a little bit later on the day saying that today they would be clarifying. So, A, we're looking for a bit of that clarification. But B, it does look like there's going to be some sort of a social restriction where our mobility and ability to get fully back to work and get everything back online like Mike Garcia and I were talking about last break, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna be a slow ramping up of things. And so I want to ask you a couple of things. First of all, I want to ask you kind of the reflective question where we don't have the time to take calls on it right now. Maybe we'll do that some other day. But what does this mean for you? So think about it. I know this affects all of us personally, but I don't want to talk philosophically in the greater ethos or political arena of things that you don't agree with this or you don't agree with that. I'm talking about just reflect on how this affects you personally. What is this going to mean for you? Because, sir, for some of you, this stay-at-home order is going to affect you very deeply and personally in your ability to work and support yourself and your family. And you know, there may be others that are thinking that this is a sigh of relief because this public health crisis has been a scary one for you. Maybe you've already been affected. You and your family have already been affected, or you're living with the stress and anxiety of that health concern. Again, I don't want to get into a political or philosophical debate here. But I'd be really interested in hearing some of those human stories. So, you know, if you do want to share with me offline, and then we can pick those back up online maybe a little bit later on, you can shoot me an email at homeschoolinganswers@ileadschools.org, homeschoolinganswers@ileadschools.org. What I'd like to hear is the human stories. Tell me how this affects you personally. Don't tell me what you think politically about what should happen. Don't tell me what you think is going on philosophically. Tell me directly how this is affecting you, because I know it's affecting so many people in so many different ways. And the issue is not as simple as any of us would like to believe. You know, it's not as simple as we would hope it would be. Oftentimes, that kind of dichotomy of political sniping is when we think that issues are so black and white, so clear cut that you agree with me or you're wrong, and that's just not the case here. It's not that simple. You know, my sister-in-law posted on social media over the weekend, hey, I know a lot of folks want to get back to work as quickly as possible, and I know how important that is, but remember, not all of our situations are the same. And I reflected with her on that because she's absolutely right. She and I are in remarkably different situations, even though we come from the same family. We live only a couple of miles apart. We have very similar backgrounds and professional experiences and realities. I live alone with my son. He and I are both relatively young. He's young. I'm his relative. But we are both in good health, thankfully, and things are going well for us right now. Everything is okay. He's a graduating senior, and sure, that comes with all the stresses with the stay-at-home order. But my sister-in-law has got a completely different reality. She is at home with her family of 6. That includes a senior citizen whose health is extremely compromised right now. She also has 2, and I'll say the same exact thing, relatively young people, a young person and his relative, that have respiratory issues. And so this public health crisis is something that threatens their very doorstep every single day. And so it's easy. So my point is, it's easy for me, someone like me, to say, we've got to get back to work, and have my sister-in-law saying, wait. This danger is still very real and very present. And those two things seem to be at odds with each other, but that doesn't mean that those two things aren't both at the same time very true and very real. We do have a very real public health crisis on our hands right now, and we do have a very real economic crisis on our hands right now. And so this is a complicated thing. Now, it's easy to say, well, okay, Matt, your family is less affected by the health crisis, so why don't you go ahead and get back to work and let your sister-in-law and her family stay at home? But here's the complicated thing. My decision affects her, and her decision affects me. If my main concern is public health, then folks getting back out in the community and a possible spike in infections doesn't affect just me. It affects our entire community. It affects our entire nation, okay? And then the ensuing effect also affects the economy, that if we have to go back into stricter regulations, more strict? I don't know. We should ask an English teacher. I'll find one of those here eventually. But, you know, that will obviously affect our economy, and you can't have a thriving economy with only a portion of society participating. So someone else's decision to stay at home and stay safer at home but not participating as much in the economy affects the rest of us. So my decision affects you. Your decisions affect me. We can't be making these in isolation. So listen to me on this. I want you to listen to me before you rush to defend or refute, because I'm going to be looking at both arguments here, okay? Again, some say that reopening things too early puts all of our health at risk, all of us. And yes, that is very real. Other people say that keeping our businesses closed, even partially, or keeping our freedoms regulated, puts our local, state, and national economy that we all depend on and our very liberties at risk. And that is very real. See, it's the same thing as the baseball players versus the owners. It's an issue. It's a very real and very true issue of health versus wealth. But as I said before, the stakes are now much, much deeper because a lot of us have a lot less wiggle room, if you will, than Major League Baseball players and owners, right? Health is a life and death situation, and wealth can be a life and death situation or a generational change of status that, like I said, generational, that carries on for decades. The wealth issue, the economic factors can mean the difference between security and homelessness. there's so many different things at play on both sides of this debate here. So what do we do? How do we resolve this issue? Because as much as we want it to be a black and white issue, it is not. The solution is painfully complex, but the answer is beautifully simple. Okay? Do you remember a few months ago when we talked about the 7 habits of highly effective people? It's a book written by Stephen Covey, and no, I'm not going to go deep into it ad nauseum like we did back in April, but this book and the concept of the 7 habits of highly effective people are something that we're going to need to rely on right now. In times of crisis, they become more important than ever. So let's look at them, because this really is going to be our path to solution. And if you listen closely, Mike Garcia, who was just on last break, talked about a lot of these. He maybe didn't use the nomenclature, he didn't use the exact phrasing that Covey did, but he was talking about the same concepts. So let's go over those 7 habits, because this really is our path through this very difficult and murky time that we're going through. Okay, again, we're talking about the urgency to keep all of our citizens safe and healthy versus the urgency to keep our economy and our financial well-being of our community and our country safe and healthy. Okay, so let's think about this as we go through the 7 habits. First, it is so important for us at this time to be proactive. Habit number 1, be proactive. Don't just sit there and wait for someone else to solve your problem. Okay, if you're waiting for someone to solve your problems are going to get worse. Okay, I know I go back to him a lot because he is a truly great example. Our friend, the driveway DJ, Graham Silver, he could have just sat on the couch as a DJ saying, I can't work, got to wait for either things to pass or somebody else to solve my problem, but he didn't. He took a proactive stance, went out there, shifted what he's doing, and he's now able to move forward. We have all got to be part of this solution, all of us. If you're not proactive, you are subject to what the rest of us determine. And that does not make you a victim. If you choose to lay back and let other people determine our path through this crisis, that doesn't make you a victim. It's nobody's fault but your own. You need to get involved. And by getting involved, I don't mean necessarily getting up and going out and protesting and doing this. There's an infinite number of ways of getting involved. Be proactive. Do not allow things to happen to you. Make things happen. Habit number 2 says begin with the end in mind, and we've got to do that. We cannot get bogged down in demagoguery or repeating somebody else's arguments and ideas or just these catchphrases, these tweets and snippets and sound bites. We've got to work to find a solution and think it all the way through. We've got to begin with that end in mind. If we choose this path, we need to consider all possible outcomes before we make a determination and start advocating so hard for what we feel should be happening. Habit number 3 is putting first things first. It's really critical at this point that we prioritize things. We've got to prioritize our reasoning. And let me give you an easy example. Again, I'm a huge sports fan, and I can argue articulately about why sports are so important to the economy, the American psyche, our mental health, and they are. But when people's very health and wealth are at stake, we need to examine our priorities and think, hold on, maybe sports can wait for a little bit, right? So we've got to figure out what those main priorities are. And again, we've got to think globally. It can't be just my priority. Well, I'm a small business owner and we've got to get back to work. Or I'm health compromised and we've got to stay safe at home. It's not that simple. We've got to think globally and put first things first. We need to examine our priorities. And then it's tough at sometimes. This is typically the toughest habit, but we've got to think win-win. Habit number 4 is thinking win-win. As we've seen, there's more than one side on this, okay? So don't dig your trench and try to beat the other side, okay? This is not us against them. This is us together fighting this battle, okay? Look for the win-win that allows us to all move forward. And it's not always blatantly obvious, okay? We got to find a way that we can all move forward while ensuring that we can all stay healthy, okay? What is that win-win? Well, if I knew, I'd be up in Sacramento or joining Mike Garcia in D.C., but we need to keep that mindset, okay? We are not enemies in this. We need to work together. Habit number 5 says seek first to understand, then to be understood, and that is something that our country really needs to hear right now. we need to listen more than we're talking, and in many cases we need to listen a lot more than we're shouting. All right, seek first to understand and then be understood. We can't shout our arguments back and forth louder and louder all the time. We have got to learn to listen to each other. Okay, I was talking with Andrew, our board op, earlier today, and one of the people that I appreciate most is someone who's got the polar opposite political beliefs from me, and that's okay. And she and I talk at length about why we believe what we believe, and sometimes we struggle to understand each other. But you know what? More than the lack of understanding is the struggle, because we do struggle to understand, and we talk things through. We don't shout slogans back and forth at each other. We seek to truly understand. Habit number 6 is synergize. We have got to work together. Again, not digging trenches, but coming together. We've got to work together to find viable solutions. There's no other way. Especially in this time, there's no other way. I know it's becoming cliche, but we are all in this together. We've got to work together. We've got to synergize. And then lastly, but no less importantly, is habit number 7, sharpen your saw. You've got to stay fresh. This one is about taking care of yourself, maintaining balance in your life, because you can't work together with me if you are not at 100%. We need everybody to bring their best at this time. And in order to do that, you've got to take care of yourself. We need you. We need you. So take care of yourself, okay? Let's do this. We can do this together. Let's take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Our friend Christina Debray, licensed marriage and family therapist, is going to be up next. She's going to help us take care of ourselves, okay? So we're going to take that last commercial break. Please stay tuned. Christina will be with us when we come back. You are listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson, your host on your hometown station, KHTS.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
I'm Christina Debray, licensed marriage and family therapist, your Santa Clarita Valley trauma and grief specialist. The coronavirus and the new stay-at-home orders have changed our lives significantly. On behalf of KHTS 98.1 FM, AM 1220, hometownstation.com, here's a tip to help you when your children are having anxiety that feels out of control. Decorate a shoebox and name it the Worry Box. Throughout the day, as worries come up, have your children write each worry on a Post-it and put it in the box to review later. If they continue to bring it up, say, "Thank you for reminding me. Let's keep it in the worry box and talk about this during our worry time." Schedule 15 to 30 minutes sometime during the day to sit with your child and the box and spend time being worried together and offering comfort. Stay safe, stay at home, and let's flatten the curve. I'm Christina Debray, licensed marriage and family therapist, your Santa Clarita Valley trauma and grief specialist.
You could be launching your rewarding career with one of Santa Clarita's leading defense contractors, FMI Aerostructures. Imagine creating critical airplane fighter components for our nation's defense. Be on the cutting edge of advanced technologies and get the skills needed to make our defense your career. We offer career paths for beginners and professionals. FMI Aerostructures, one of Santa Clarita's largest employers since 1978.
Find out about our 4-credit mentorship programs through College of the Canyons and the William S. Hart High School District. Visit fmiscv.com.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
There are many memorable restaurants in Santa Clarita, but 3 words stand out from the crowd. Mom can cook.
Mamá puede cocinar.
Mom can cook the best Thai food on this side of the planet.
Mama fait la cuisine.
No matter what language you use, Mom Can Cook says it all. Thai food at its finest. All your favorite dishes and Mom's very own original specialties. Experience it on Soledad by the Canyon Country Post Office.
Mama 요리가 좋으세요?
Mom Can Cook.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. We are joined now by Christina Debray. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist with a remarkable story of resilience and determination. I mentioned before the break about how important it is for us to take care of ourselves, and Christina is here just about every day helping us do that, doing exactly what her part is, taking care of herself and supporting others in taking care of themselves. As I mentioned, her story is just such an incredibly inspiring story of struggle and trauma, but the resilience that it takes to get through it. And she's turned that into quite an amazing career as a trauma and resilience specialist, which is so important during these times, as we talked about. Christina is a graduate of Cal State Northridge and Pepperdine University who lives and practices right here in Valencia. She has studied extensively things including trauma, phobias, performance enhancement, attachment disorders, suicide prevention, grief, child and adolescent interventions. She's got more than 18 years experience speaking and works with medical professionals, patients, schools, parents, business professionals. She's got all kinds of experience, so tune into her. She's got a lot of important things to say. Christina, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
It's good to have you back, as always. Christina, we've been talking about how May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you and I are on a mission to demystify mental health. We want to make going to therapy and taking care of your mental health as commonplace and as well accepted as going to the dentist and taking care of your dental health, or going in for your annual physical or mammogram and taking care of your physical health, aren't we? Yesterday, we talked about the different ways to treat anxiety. We've been talking about anxiety this week, and you said that there are quite a few different ways that therapists such as yourself can treat anxiety. But we all know that times are complicated. You know, not everybody has ready access to therapy right now. People may be struggling with their healthcare provider. People may have a financial roadblock to accessing a professional therapist that can help them through their anxiety. Or maybe people are feeling that now just isn't the time to be changing therapists or changing treatments. So is there something that our listeners can do at home to help deal with their anxiety?
Absolutely. There are so many things that can be done at home, and today I just want to talk about a few of them. Well, there are the basic things like avoiding caffeine and avoiding alcohol, talking to people who understand what you're dealing with, finding a mantra like, for example, the Serenity Prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, going for walks, drinking water. I talked before about how, a lot of times this is not a completely 100% true statement, but a lot of times depression is influenced by memories of the past, and anxiety is influenced by our concerns about the future that usually come from our experiences in the past. And so a lot of how we cope with anxiety in an unhealthy way is through avoiding, right? So I'm afraid of spiders, so I'm just never going to look at pictures of spiders, or I'm going to run out of the room when there's a spider. That is a concept called negative reinforcement. So negative reinforcement is when we increase a behavior by removing an averse stimulus. So a really easy way to think about this is when you get in the car and and if you were to start driving and you weren't wearing your seatbelt, the car starts beeping at you. And what do? You go and put your seatbelt on, not because necessarily you want to, but it's that you want relief from that beeping, right? So anyways, it's the same thing with anxiety is, I'm having anxiety about whatever, the future, my finances, whatever it is, and then avoiding that anxiety by any number of ways. This is how addictions develop, through negative reinforcement. So I'm going to drink so that I don't have to hold space for my anxiety. I am going to never watch TV and never expose myself to any news because I don't want to experience anxiety. I'm just never going to talk about my problems. So obviously, this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. We don't want to, constantly be forcing ourselves to confront our anxiety, because then we're going to overload our information processing system and it's going to become overwhelming.
It's going to confirm our anxiety, yeah.
We want to find that balance. So it's okay to take breaks, and it's okay to tune out and distract and temporarily decompress. But also, if we're becoming completely avoidant of everything, that's not good either, because we have to hold space for it. So, and there's no one-size-fits-all for holding space. Sometimes that's having a conversation with someone about it. Sometimes that's meditating about it. Sometimes that's going for a walk and processing that. Sometimes that's sleeping on it, because sleep is our natural EMDR. There are a wide array of ways that we can process our anxiety.
So would you say it's, if I'm anxious about multiple things, that it might be, or even if I've just got a great level of anxiety about one thing, it might be taking on one portion of that at a time, kind of chunking it down?
Absolutely, and I think part of it is just breaking it down into digestible chunks. Is okay, just like you were talking before I came on, is this, we have so much anxiety about the future and everything that's going to happen, and that's really overwhelming to think about. There's just so many things. So let's just think about what we need to do to get through the week here, right? And then your anxiety might go like, yeah, but what's going to happen next week? That's a great question. Thank you, anxiety, for reminding me that next week is there and has things that we need to address. But right now we're focusing on getting through this week. And that's why I've talked before about making a worry box sometimes, the more adult version is, making a little list in your phone, right? Take out the notes section of your phone and just start making a bullet point list of, these are the things that I'm worried about. But right now I'm focusing on this. Right now I'm focusing on worrying about what I have to make for dinner.
Yeah, that's really important. You mentioned before the Serenity Prayer, and that's not just a spiritual exercise. That's a lifestyle of accepting the things that we can't take control of, but taking control of the things that we can. It's like I said, it's more than a prayer. It's that lifestyle. Christina, thank you so much. We want to continue talking to you about anxiety and how we can deal with it, but I feel like we're making a lot of progress here. I know I sure am, and as long as it's good for me, then our listeners can join me for the ride. I hope our listeners I'm sure our listeners are getting a lot out of this as well. Listen, if you're struggling, I want you to make sure that you're reaching out to your healthcare provider. It's so important that you don't neglect your mental health. If you need help dealing with things, that makes you about average. It makes you just like the rest of us. We all need that help. You can contact Christina directly at 661-513-4857. That is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank our guests, Yuval Tall, graduate from SCVI, and Paul from COC, and Mike Garcia, it looks like is going to be our new congressman. I want you to join us tomorrow and every day at 9 a.m. You are listening to Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson, your host, with your hometown station, KHTS.